Crazy Red Emu here, and over the years I have commissioned Unimportant Steve over at the Geek Chest, link in the description, for a lot of custom work on figures, mostly Godzilla. And I wanted to do a top 10 customs that I've commissioned Steve to make. So, first off, some ground rules. I didn't include any companion pieces, so if it requires two figures to look, at its best, then I didn't include them. I have two sets of these figures, and they haven't come in or come back from them yet anyway, so it's kind of a moot point anyway, but I wouldn't have included them. Second, this order is how much I like them. So it's not the amount of work that went into them or didn't go into them. It's just like I see it on the shelf and I'm like, yeah. So that's the, rules on that. So let's get right into it with Godzilla X Mechagodzilla. Or is it Godzilla Tokyo? No, it's Godzilla X Mechagodzilla. The other one has the scar. This guy is just a simple Spitfire. All I asked him to do was paint the spines, blue, so it looks like he's firing him a laser. And he just looks really good on the shelf. This is why he's on the list. He just sitting there. You see him from the side, and he just makes a great silhouette looking. He looks nice. Simple as. So he's number 10. Not much to go over with him. The first few are going to be like that. Because up next is the Millennium Godzilla. Firing his red laser. He had some messed up eyes, so he got some painted in eyes. I know that ain't quite screen accurate, I don't believe. And he also filled in some holes because this guy is a main character in my comic on Tumblr. So he got battle damaged in one of the stories, and so he got patched up when I sent him in to get Spitfired. And he is number 8. 9. Jeez, oh Pete. Sorry guys, it's been a long day. Had to go help move a stove and stuff. This figure is on the list, not just because of looks, but because of the importance to the character, since he's a main character in my blog. So, I just kind of like him more. Now for the actual number 8. Another Spitfire. This one is the 54 Godzilla. NECA. The NECA 54 Godzilla. Both of these are Monster Arts. And Steve went the extra mile. I didn't even ask him to. He made the beam and the smoke effect at the end of it for well, not for free. I did pay for it, but he just, took the initiative, and it didn't up the bill hardly nothing, because this is hot glue on a straw, I believe, and this is just cotton balls painted. But he looks neat. I really like the look of how he is in the beam, especially the cloudy effect. It sets it apart from other possible Spitfires of 54. Now for number 7. This is mid-transformation Monster X. When he turns into Kaiser Ghidorah. And look at the job, how good those side heads look. That is really impressive. And also, these wings, these came off a bootleg Rodan. Now, this is one of the ones where you're like, why is this so low down on the list? And it's just, maybe because the Ghidorah shelf is on the closer to the floor, so I don't see him as often. Because a lot more work went into this guy than most of the others on this list. And he looks amazing. But you know how it goes. Just certain ones you end up liking more than others, even though it's objectively better. Now, some of you in the Discord, Steve's Discord, will know that I've bought other commissions that Steve's made and then later sold, but they weren't commissioned by me. I didn't include those on this list because, they weren't my idea. They were somebody else's, or they were Steve's, and, it just wasn't my idea, so I didn't want to put it on my list. And there's some pretty cool ones, though. Alrighty. 10, 9, 8, 7. Alright, number 6 is a big one. This is the NECA, what was it, 24-inch Godzilla? Any wars? Somewhere? Now, this came out for the original... Shoot, what was that? I forget what year that was, but it was his first movie appearance. But as you can see, I had Steve turn him into 2019 Godzilla, and I think he just looks amazing. I even had him do the feet, so he has like the spread toes instead of them all clumped like an elephant foot. Hands are the same. Huh. Just a really cool figure, and it's neat to have a big one of the 2019 Godzilla. Time for number 5. Number 5 is the Final Wars Monster Arts. Specifically, the scene where he does that spin to turn his blue beam into a red beam. I wanted the mid spin look. So his plates are red and blue, and he's charging up. So technically this is another Spitfire, but a little more work went into it because I wanted to replicate the effects coming off his plates as he spun as well. These are adjustable, and they got a little moved around when I brought them from upstairs. I have commissioned a lot of Final Wars Godzillas off him. Another one, kind of an honorable mention, is I had him make closed fists for Final Wars Godzilla, so he could throw some punches. I probably should have just put him on this figure, but I'm trying to be delicate with it just in case. And technically, I didn't commission him at the same time as I commissioned this guy, so it's kind of cheating. But regardless, I really like this figure. He's pretty good. So what number am I on now? 1, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. 4 is a very interesting piece. This is a unreleased prototype for the Godzilla the Series toy line. And when I got him, it was a little broken, unpainted. I had Steve paint it, which he said really hurt him, but I wasn't here for the rarity of it being an unreleased prototype. I was there because there is no toy of this guy, right? So I wanted him. I didn't want the rarity part. I just paid that much because, I wanted to get him. And part of the problem with being a prototype is his feet kept curling in. So I had to make a stand. He can pop off. I'm not going to do it, but he can pop off of this. And I also, had a little squid put in there so he can munch on him. And one of these arms was broken off, and I think it was this one. But yeah, I really dig this figure. The one thing I gotta say is the screen caps on when he took look green, and then when I watch it, he looks yellow to me. And I think this is a case of the blue dress, white dress thing, because I still think he kind of looks yellow in the show. And other people seem to think he's green. Like, I've seen fan art and he's green, and to me, in my head, when I think of him being yellow. So, you tell me in the comments, what color do you think C-Rex is? Number 3. Gotta be careful with this guy. The Explosion Godzilla. Got back the camera up now, too. And Godzilla versus, or Godzilla King of the Monsters. When he absorbs Mothra's energy and then does that explosion, I wanted a figure of that. So I got one. And he just makes an impressive looking figure on the shelf. These big old fiery Mothra wings sticking off of him, all these flames. Just great. He's a Monster Arts. The wings are off the Haya Mothra, because they were the biggest. That's the biggest Mothra available to me. They can kind of articulate, but the fire is so heavy and the where they attach is so thin that it doesn't really work. So they're kind of just moved and set into place. It'd be nice if they could move, but just not logical or reasonable. The little ones can, though. They're in there somewhere. There we go. You know what? I better not. I'm worried about breaking them. The Haya wings are kind of thin. I don't know how thin. I haven't, stress tested them, but I'd rather not. Number 2. And you're probably going to all complain about my number 1. But here's number 2. Is from Godzilla Aftershocks, I believe it's called. The comic where he fights a Super Muto of some kind. Muto Prime, maybe it was called. Or Alpha Muto. Regardless, during the fight, he got incredibly cut up. And his spines got destroyed. And so the entire fight, he's just spitting fire out of his back. Until eventually he basically uses that as a blowtorch to nuke his opponent. And this is a NECA, because I had an extra one, and you can see he's all cut up and scarred, and he just looks so nice on the shelf too. There's another one that when I look at my shelf just pops. He kind of gets drowned out because he's next to 3 other versions of Burning Godzilla. But this guy does not. He really pops where he's out on the shelf. And he's also one of my earlier commissions, so I just kind of like him more. It's unfair, but I said from the beginning that this list isn't exactly fair. That's number 2. Now, people are really gonna dislike my number 1 choice, I bet, but it's Battle Damaged Mothra. This is a bootleg of the Monster Arts Mothra, and as you can see, The wings are just all burnt up and got holes in them. This body's painted darker to match the night scene. I believe this might be the first commission I got from him. And I just really like it. And she looks really good. I've also rewatched his how-to video with this one in there several times. I don't have a black light, but also when you shine a black light on it, it kind of glows. Yeah, like I said, my list doesn't make much sense, because, like, that one in the back, that one, work-wise, is way more impressive than anybody else on this list. Or maybe him. But still, at the end of the day, I just really like this Mothra. A shout out goes to Godzilla, the doppelganger Godzilla from Godzilla in Hell, which is in one of his videos. It's just really cool looking, but it's not one of my commissions. So if it had been something I commissioned, it probably would have been number one. But that's how it what they say. That's how the cookie crumbles. Alright, so tell me in the comments how crazy my list is and how out of order it is. And be sure to go and subscribe to the Geek Chess / Unimportant Steve, because he's cooler than me and he makes all this stuff and he does videos of like the work he puts into most of these. And yeah, that's my top 10. Crazy Red Emu, signing off.